Welcome to the deep dive. We cut through the noise to get you the knowledge you need. And today, we're tackling something that holds back so many local businesses. It's that feeling of being buried in local search results. You've got a great business, people nearby are searching for exactly what you do, but you're just not there. You're stuck under the big brands, maybe some paid ads. And that means, well, missed customers walking in, phones that aren't ringing. You're losing trust, losing business to competitors, maybe just down the street. So today we're doing a deep dive into this really great guide called Local SEO Guide 2025, Turn Local Searches into Real-World Sales. Think of this as your custom-tailored shortcut. We want to figure out how you can really dominate your local market online. Our mission is pretty clear. We're pulling out the most important nuggets from this guide. We'll show you how to go from being, buried to being found right when local people are ready to buy.
And that mission, it's just so critical right now. Local SEO, it's not some passing trend. It's foundational, a long-term investment if you serve customers locally. What's interesting is Google actually gives us a playbook. They talk about their 3 core ranking pillars: proximity, relevance, and prominence. But, despite that clarity, so many businesses just seem to optimize kind of randomly. They miss out on the huge power of the map pack. I mean, that map pack captures something like, 44% of clicks from local searches. It's a massive piece of the puzzle, and it gets overlooked way too often.
Wow, 44%. That really puts it in perspective. Okay, so building on those pillars you mentioned, we're going to look at how local SEO differs from, say, traditional SEO or PPC, even local services ads. We'll really get into optimizing your Google business profile. That's GBP, getting good reviews, nailing down those NAP citations, and even looking ahead, preparing for Google's AI search, SGE. The goal is that by the end, you'll have a clear roadmap: more trust, more calls, more real-world sales. So to stop being buried and actually start getting found, we need to understand that bedrock of local visibility. Okay, let's dig in. Yeah, the guide makes it really clear. Traditional SEO, it builds that broad reach, right? But those generic terms, they often don't convert when someone needs help, like 2 streets over. And PPC, sure, you can buy your way onto page 1 tonight, but every click costs money. That meter just keeps running.
Right. And local services ads, LSAs, they're good for certain trades, licensed, pre-screened, pay-per lead. But coverage is narrow, and those costs are climbing too. Local SEO, though, that sits in a really nice sweet spot. It's about building a steady, long-term revenue channel. It's fascinating because you're building an asset, not just renting attention, right? Yeah. You invest time to perfect your Google business profile, get all the details right, accurate hours, good photos. You align your website with those really specific service plus city keywords. You earn reviews that signal trust. And the payoff, it's that consistent presence. In the local pack, top results on maps. We see businesses use PPC or LSA as maybe a short-term bridge. Then they strategically pull back on spending once their organic local ranks and map pack calls start really outperforming the paid leads. It's all about sustainable visibility.
And those 3 Google pillars you mentioned: proximity, relevance, prominence. They're right there. Proximity is, well, it's simple distance, right? Search into your verified business address. You can't really move your shop, but you can be smart about defining your service areas. Exactly. And relevance is all about how well your GBP categories, your website content, your structured data, how well it all matches the search query. Like if someone searches emergency vet open now, your profile absolutely needs to list that exact service and have those accurate up-to-the-minute hours.
Right.
Then there's prominence. This really reflects your overall standing, your reputation online and off. We're talking consistent NAP name, address, phone number, perfectly match everywhere online. A steady flow of good 5-star reviews, mentions from local news, community sites. These signals tell search engines and, just as importantly, potential customers that you're a trusted, established choice. And that directly boosts your local rankings on Google Maps. It's really a holistic picture.
Okay, so let's start with the absolute foundation then. Your Google business profile, GBP. The guide calls it the single strongest lever for getting into and staying in the map pack. It's kind of striking how missing just one key thing, like your address or phone number, can get your listing buried or even suspended by Google.
That's absolutely right. Claiming and verifying your GBP, that first step, it's gotten much smoother. Google's dashboard flow is usually the quickest. Postcards are still common. But what's really interesting now, in 2025, is how widespread instant video verification has become for lots of business types, sometimes under 5 minutes. The key takeaway here is get verified before you start heavily editing everything else. If you make a ton of changes while unverified, it can flag your profile for manual review.
and that just stalls everything.
Okay, good tip. And category selection sounds like it needs to be almost surgical. The
Okay.
guide really hammers this. Pick a primary category that's super specific. It's the difference, like you said, between being a plumber and being the emergency plumber open now for those late night calls.
Good attack.
And secondary categories. Only add them if they genuinely represent a distinct service you offer, right? More isn't always better if it dilutes your focus.
Precisely. And speaking of focus, keywords in the business name. The guide is very, very clear here. Resist that urge.
Yeah.
Don't stuff keywords in your GBP name. Google's 2025 guidelines state your GBP name should be your legal business name only. Trying something like Joe's Plumbing Best 24/7 Plumber New York.
Right.
That can actually trigger an automated suspension. If you've done that, the advice is fix it now, proactively, before the algorithm catches you. It's just not worth the risk.
Wow. Okay, that's a critical point many might miss. What about those attributes? Things like wheelchair accessible entrance or LGBTQ plus friendly, do they really impact local search rank?
They do, maybe indirectly, but significantly improve click-through rates. And here's why. These attributes now pop up as filter chips on mobile searches. So if you leave one relevant attribute unchecked, you might just vanish completely when someone uses that filter, especially for searches with a really strong local intent. It's about painting the full, honest picture of your business. Google rewards that clarity by showing you to more relevant searchers.
Makes sense. And photos and videos. We know visuals matter, but what specifically does Google reward? What should businesses focus on?
High-resolution, authentic visuals definitely drive clicks. The guide notes that EXIF's geotagging, location data embedded in the photo doesn't directly impact rank anymore, but posting high-quality images, especially alongside customer reviews, still builds massive trust. The recommendation is a mix. Shots of the outside so people recognize your place, inside photos to set expectations, maybe some team photos to seem more human, and short video clips like 30 seconds, vertical format ideally, showing services action. Google definitely prioritizes mobile-friendly video. And crucially, fill out those products and services tabs. Put your high-margin offers, your core tasks in there. Each one needs a photo, a description, and a clear call now button. That really boosts conversions.
Okay, great practical advice there. So moving beyond just perfecting the GBP listing itself, let's talk reviews and reputation. The source says when two businesses are basically the same distance away, reviews often become the deciding factor for the click. Google sees them as proof of quality, shoppers see them as social proof. But how many do you really need?
Yeah, Google never gives a magic number, right? But the data suggests some key milestones. Getting 10 to 15 reviews is a solid start. It shows you're legit, might get you in the local pack for more specific long-tail searches, hitting, say, 50-plus reviews. That shows consistent service over time, really boosts visibility for those core service plus city keywords. And if you can get to 100-plus reviews with a strong average, like 4.5 stars or higher, that really establishes you as a market leader. Higher click-through rates creates a real competitive moat. Quantity matters, sure, but it's also the velocity, that steady trickle of new reviews and getting keyword-rich comments that often matter more than just the sheer count.
That steady trickle sounds important. So how do businesses actually generate reviews consistently without sounding, spammy or breaking Google's rules?
The guide details this really robust 7-stage review loop. It starts with a clear trigger, like marking a job complete in your CRM system. Then, within 2 hours, send an SMS or email. SMS usually gets much higher open rates, maybe 3 times higher. The message is short, polite, just asking for feedback, with a direct link to your Google review page. You can even have a fallback, like a QR code on an offline receipt, if nothing comes back. One gentle reminder after about 3 days, and then that's it. You stop asking that customer. And staff can add a personal touch too. Apparently, internal tests show that can lift response rates by about 18%. But here's the crucial part. You must ask every customer. No filtering out potentially unhappy ones, and never ever offer discounts or gifts for reviews. That's a big no-no with Google and can even lead to FTC fines.
Okay, that's a really clear, actionable process. So once your GBP is polished, your reviews are flowing. The next layer of trust for Google and customers is consistency across the web. That's where NAP, name, address, phone number citations become so critical. The guide emphasizes if your NAP is different across various listings, Google might think you're unreliable and swap you out for a competitor with cleaner data. How much does that consistency truly matter?
Oh, it matters a lot. There's data cited from 2024 showing businesses with 100% matching NAP across the top 25 local directories.
They average 18 positions higher in the map finder results.
18 positions, wow.
Yeah, 18 map positions higher than businesses with 3 or more variations in their NAP. That's pretty concrete proof, right? Clean data drives real local SEO benefits. Plus, listings updated in the last 60 days get about 12% more profile actions. Google seems to surface that recently edited data with a bit more confidence. So match everything, then keep it fresh.
18 positions. I think many businesses might just dismiss consistency as a nice to have, but that really shows it's fundamental. So where should they focus? Which directories matter most?
The guide breaks it down into tiers. Priority 1, Google Business Profile itself, Apple Business Connect, and Bing Places. These feed directly into the map apps on our phones. Next tier, think Trust Hubs, Yelp, Facebook pages, Better Business Bureau, important for their authority and the trust signals they send. Then you have data brokers like Foursquare, TomTom, they supply GPS systems. And if you're in a specific niche or regulated industry, definitely add at least one industry-specific directory early on. Those can provide unique links Google can't easily find elsewhere.
That's a really useful breakdown. Okay, let's shift to finding the actual search terms, the keywords that local buyers use. The source stresses that good local keyword research turns guesswork into a proper roadmap. Make sure every page targets a phrase with real buying intent.
Exactly. And you don't necessarily need expensive tools to start. The guide points to 3 great free sources to find those seed keywords. First, just Google Autocomplete. Start typing a core service. See what drops down. Those are real searches happening right now. Second, Google Search Console. Filter your existing impressions data by city or state. Export the queries. Often you'll find phrases ranking, 20th to 40th that just need a little optimization push to jump way up. Third, just look at your competitors. Check the title tags of the businesses ranking high in the local pack. If you see consistent phrasing across several top competitors, that's usually a sign of a proven high-value keyword. Put these into a spreadsheet. That's your starting list.
And what about those near me searches or adding city names or neighborhoods? How vital are those local modifiers?
Oh, absolutely critical. These are the little tweaks that turn a searcher into a caller because they signal immediate, often urgent need. Think best roofing company near me, or maybe Thai food Wicker Park for someone looking for dinner right in that neighborhood, or even 247 locksmiths 9021 urgency plus a specific location. The search volume for these super specific phrases might look smaller, but their conversion rates could be, well, through the roof. They capture people who are ready to act now.
Right, intent is key. So once you have this list of keywords, how do you actually map them to your website pages without them competing against each other? That cannibalization issue where Google gets confused.
Yeah, good question. The guide recommends classifying the search intent first. So, affordable dentist Austin, that's commercial intent. The searcher is comparing options. Emergency dentist Austin open now. That's transactional. They need help immediately. How much is a dental crown in Austin? That's informational. Early stage research. So commercial and transactional queries. They belong on dedicated city pages or service pages designed to drive calls or bookings. Informational questions fit better on blog posts or FAQ sections. Answer the question, build authority, and internally link back to your main service pages. Then assign one primary keyword phrase to each page for the title tag, the main H1 heading. Use close variations in subheadings, H2s, H3s, or maybe FAQ snippets, but don't just cram them in. And if you find 2 pages targeting the exact same service plus city phrase, you probably need to merge them or use a canonical tag so Google doesn't penalize you for duplicate content.
That's a really smart way to structure things. Okay, so GBP is dialed in, keyword strategy is sharp. Now let's look at optimizing the actual website pages. The guide says your site needs to prove 3 things: where you operate, what you offer, and why you're the best choice, showing Google clear evidence of local relevance.
Precisely. And the best structure for that is usually distinct City Hub pages and then detailed service pages. City Hubs target those service plus city keywords. They reassure users you cover their area. Service pages dive deep into one specific offering benefits, maybe pricing ranges, FAQs. A really high converting city page. It should open with a quick, 40-word summary stating your coverage area, maybe average response time. Then layer on credibility signals what Google calls EEET. Expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness, things like headshots, license numbers. Many price ranges help, local landmarks like we're 5 minutes from Zilker Park, local testimonials, and definitely a sticky call now button that stays visible. Pages that nail this mix of hyperlocal context and real proof. They consistently see 15-25% higher call-through rates.
15 to 25%, that's huge. So it's not just slapping content up, it's making it trustworthy and super actionable for that local user. Okay, what about the technical side? Page speed. Core Web Vitals. Why does Google care so much?
Because slow pages are frustrating. And Google's Core Web Vitals algorithm literally bakes user experience into local pack rankings. The guide gives specific targets. LCP, largest content full paint, basically how fast the main content load should be under 2.5 seconds. CLS, cumulative layout shift that measures how much stuff jumps around unexpectedly while loading aim for under 0.10. And INP, interaction to next pane, how fast the page responds when you click or tap something, ideally under 200 milliseconds. We've all had that experience, right? Try to click a button and it moves. Google measures that frustration. Sometimes simple things like compressing a big hero image from a JPG to a newer format like WebP can shave off hundreds of milliseconds, maybe pushing you into the good score range. Even a slow-loading Google Maps embed can hurt your LCP.
That's a great practical tip about image compression. And with, over half of local searches on phones now, mobile optimization must be non-negotiable. The source says if your pages lag, shift around, or hide the phone number, people just leave.
Yeah, mobile searchers are super impatient. The advice is really designed for the small screen first. A responsive, single-column layout is usually best. Use readable text, like 16-point font size minimum. Make buttons easy to tap with the thumb. Key info logo, your main value proposition, maybe your star rating, and a clear call to action needs to be visible immediately. Above the fold, no scrolling required. And those tap to call and tap for directions buttons are absolutely vital, especially if you have a sticky footer bar that keeps call now visible as they scroll. A/B tests show these kinds of mobile-first tweaks can boost call volume by 15–22%.
Okay, another significant number. Now, what about businesses that don't have a physical storefront customers visit, like plumbers, electricians, roofers, service area businesses, or SAs? How do they rank without that direct proximity advantage?
Right, they need to lean harder on the other two pillars, relevance and prominence. On their Google business profile, they need to max out category relevance. Pick a really specific primary category, like water damage restoration service, not just cleaning service. On their website, build topical authority. Have detailed pages for each specific service, FAQs, photos of their actual crews out working, and critically, earn locally themed backlinks. Sponsor a neighborhood event, get features on a hyperlocal blog. Even one good link from a local.org or .edu site can push you past competitors who might be physically closer. Google lets you list up to 20 service areas, but the guide wisely suggests sticking to areas you can realistically reach within, say, 45 minutes. You don't want bad reviews because you showed up late. Think concentric circles around your base.
So it's about building trust and proving relevance in other ways if you don't have that storefront. Okay, let's talk about building authority off your website, getting other reputable sites to vouch for you. Backlinks are still key, right? Especially local ones.
Absolutely. Backlinks are still seen as votes of confidence. The guide's approach to local link building is really about genuine community ties, not just spamming directories. Think about pitching useful, seasonal how-to articles to neighborhood news sites or blogs where mentioning your business makes sense naturally. Sponsoring local stuff, Little League teams, charity 5Ks, and asking for a proper sponsor spotlight page on their website, that's incredibly effective for local links. Joining industry associations, your local chamber of commerce if they offer member directories with links. And using services like AOARO or QWOTED to respond to journalist queries needing local expertise can yield powerful high-authority links. Honestly, one link from a respected local newspaper or community group website can easily be worth more than 20 generic directory listings for boosting local authority.
Okay, that makes sense. Quality over quantity there. Now looking towards the future. Google's AI-powered search, SGE. The source material says SGE pulls answers from brands it already sees as trusted entities. If your business's online data is thin or scattered, the AI just can't see you. How do local businesses prepare for that shift?
Well, local businesses actually have a potential edge here because they're tied to real places, real reviews, often real local news mentions. The key is turning that real-world footprint into citations the AI can easily understand, end quote. It involves something the guide calls entity-led digital PR. Think of it as deliberately building this interconnected, verifiable digital profile for your business that AI recognizes and trusts. So, pitching community-focused stories to local news, not just bland press releases, but actual stories that include your full name, address, phone number, and a link back to your site. That reinforces your entity. Providing expert quotes for geotagged HAO or keyworded queries does the same. And importantly, adding same-as links to your website schema markup, that's the code telling search engines about your business. Point those same-as links to your GBP, your social profiles, these positive PR mentions. It helps the AI connect the dots. For the AI overviews themselves, optimize your website content into concise, fact-rich answers with city names included. Try to place your business entity name near the answer. AI models seem to prefer facts attributed directly to a source.
That sounds like a really proactive way to approach the AI evolution. Okay, finally, let's talk measurement. How do you know if all this local SEO effort is actually working? Beyond just checking rankings, what truly matters for the bottom line?
Yeah, real local SEO success shows up in phone calls, people walking in the door, and actual booked jobs or sales. The guide highlights 3 essential tools here: Google Analytics 4, GA4, especially if you use UTM tracking codes, call tracking, ideally with dynamic number insertion or DNI, and your Google Business Profile Insights. Using UTM tags on your GBP website links lets GA4 separate out GBP organic traffic from general local organic from search results, so you can actually compare conversion rates. DNI is an absolute must if phone calls are important, which they usually are for local businesses. It swaps phone numbers on your site dynamically to show exactly which marketing channel drove a specific call, so you can prove ROI for efforts like clicks from the GBP local pack versus clicks from local organic search.
Right. So with DNI, you're not just counting calls, precisely which local SEO tactic generated that lead. That creates a really powerful feedback loop to see what's actually driving revenue.
Exactly. And then GBP Insights gives you that 360-degree view. 3 metrics really correlate strongly with business growth. Calls, obviously high-intent leads. Direction requests, a great predictor of foot traffic. And discovery searches, which shows how visible you are for searches that don't include your brand name. The advice is, export this data monthly. Maybe pipe it into a simple dashboard and set up alerts for big changes. Like if calls drop 20% week over week, that should trigger an immediate check of your citations, rankings, maybe recent reviews. It's about being proactive, not just waiting for problems. If we connect all this back to the bigger picture, what really emerges is that consistent customer-focused action. That's the bedrock of local SEO success. It really outweighs any single trick or quick fix. The critical thing to remember is simple. Local buyers are already out there looking for what you offer. Your job, really your massive opportunity, is just to make it easy for them to find you and, crucially, to trust you.
So what does this all really mean for you listening right now? It means getting that Google business profile perfect. Actively managing your reputation with genuine reviews, making sure your name, address, and phone info is absolutely spotless everywhere online. And yeah, even starting to think about how your website content and your business entity signals look to AI search. When you put all these pieces together, they create this powerful competitive moat for your business. Makes it really tough for competitors to knock you off the top spot locally.
And that leads to, well, an important question for you to think about. Considering everything we've discussed, Google's pillars, core web vitals, NAP consistency, reviews, all of it, what's maybe one specific area from your own local SEO checklist that you'll really prioritize and commit to improving consistently over the next, say, 3 months? Keep in mind, even something that seems small, like noticing a 20% drop in calls week over week in your tracking, that could signal a critical issue needing fast attention. So what's your one focus area going to be?
Whether you decide to tackle it yourself using these insights from the guide, or maybe you bring in some expert help, the path to turning those local searches into real-world sales really comes down to smart, consistent, ongoing effort. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive.